Welcome to the Nordic Mythology podcast. I'm Daniel Farrand of the company Horns of Odin. As always, before we jump into the show, I do have to plug our Patreon. It's how we keep the lights on. It's how the show's been going for 5 years at this point, I think, coming up to 300 episodes. It's been a long journey, and we couldn't have done that without the support of Patreon. It is literally, like I say, every week, the blood within the show that helps it keep going. So if you can, pop over to Patreon/Nordic Mythology Podcast. It starts from £3 a month. So the price of buying me or Mags a cup of coffee, less than. Coffee is extortionate these days, but that's a gripe for another time. And you get the entire back catalogue. So at the moment, for free, you get the latest 20 episodes out there. That doesn't change, but the entire back catalogue of over 260 extra episodes are only on our Patreon. You also get storytime episodes that we used to do, and you also get the Viking smut that myself, Mags, and Claire read, where we look at amateur Viking erotica and read it and give our opinions. So they are,
all right.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. They're always kind of very lighthearted, except when we accidentally picked a serious one that was quite good and awkwardly just realized it was three friends reading porn, and it became quite awkward.
It was unironically very well written, and Dan and I kind of worked on just not making eye contact while Claire was reading this also really well. And we were we're just listening to actual well done porn right now. And okay,
Claire has a fantastic reading voice that would fit well into the.
She sure does.
Audio erotic world, I guess. Yep. It would be so we were just kind of sat there this is actually very good and now awkward.
Yep.
But that's part of the joy, I guess. Other than that, 5-star rating, positive review wherever you get your podcast. Maybe somebody else will find it, and then go and watch the episodes on YouTube. You can see our lovely faces. There's always a little bit of extra something to the episodes. A lot of times, especially scholarly guests will bring items to show, or they'll pull things up on the screens. If not, you get to look at Mags and today's guests doing their nail binding and crocheting, which is lovely. But let's get into today's show. I'm super excited for this. I'm really glad we finally got to sit down and do this episode. But first, I need to introduce my lovely co-host and our in-house archaeologist, Mags Havgar.
You didn't forget me this week. Good on you, Dan.
I did not. Well, that's what happens when I take a week off, everything resets.
Yeah.
Well, to the listeners, they don't know we've had a week off because everything comes out as
pre-planning
every week as normal.
How about it?
We have had a week off, so we're getting back into the flow. So that lovely voice is Mags, and then our guest today is Michaela. Is it just pronounced Maass? Maass?
Yes.
So that
it's a hard name.
Well, it's not. I should have checked before, but that sums up with the week I've been having. So that voice belongs to Sweden's strongest Valkyrie, and so Michaela is a fitness social media influencer. You're a history nerd, and you have a beautiful outlook of, you think that, I guess you believe that you can do anything you want to do, and it's come from a lifetime of maybe some hardship in there, but you turn that into a positive outlook and then put that out there, particularly I think for female empowerment. I know that your videos are not only am I impressed, but I'm sure that there are women are all around the world looking at it thinking, yeah, go on.
Yeah, I hope so. I definitely hope so. That was the original reason why I started with Instagram, is to try to find more women and show them what's actually doable. Because often we get to hear as female as we should tone down, we should be more quiet, we should take less of space, get as skinny as possible, don't do big mess out of yourself, just stay in the corner. And I'm trying to show that it's possible to do something else. You can take up space and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that if there is more women showing and taking up space, I hope that other women will do that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was the entire point of starting my Instagram, basically showing that it's doable
Mm-hmm.
and it's not going to be obnoxious.
No, it doesn't have to be. And it doesn't, I think as well, it doesn't have to always be overly sexualized, which I think sometimes that can happen. And no, there's nothing wrong with that if that's what
Absolutely not.
some women want to do. And that plays into particularly a certain audience, especially if it's for financial gain. But you can also have that strength without it needing to be, overly sexualized, which your stuff certainly isn't.
Yeah, I hope so. And of course, there is space for both. And actually, a funny thing that you're talking about the sexualization. A lot of companies are reaching out to me and wanting me to show their outfits, and often super like skimpy outfits.
Mm-hmm.
And I have had to turn them down. And I'm thinking from the influencing perspective. Now I actually have a full-time work in finance, so I can afford to say, "Fuck you, no, thank you." Sorry for my French.
No, you can swear. It's all right.
Yeah, but like a lot of influencers can't afford to do that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then you are forced into a certain model.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I, without going too much into it, I bet particularly the strength aspect and the stuff you do, you must get some insane requests. I bet I bet your DMs are insane with just can you break a watermelon between your thighs or something? And like off the top of my head, I bet it is
very random choice, right, Dan? Just like
I bet it would
completely just what.
I pulled that one straight off the top of my head. Never have I ever thought of that. That's just off the dome. But I'm sure you have some insane.
I do, and I can laugh about it because I'm quite confident, and I feel like I can put boundaries, and I'm old enough. If I had been 18, maybe I wouldn't have been able to do that. Now I can just block off people and tell them go somewhere else. Or do you really think that this is a way to send a random DM to somebody? There is actually a person behind the screen you're sending it to. But maybe the 18-year-old me, I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
it's hard to know now how this would have affected our 18-year-old selves, right? Because like it's that weird thing of like being technically an adult, but like mentally you're not really an adult yet, because how could you be? But then knowing like, oh, how would that have like made 18-year-old me feel? Probably not great.
Yeah, and I think it's we grew up. I don't know how old you are, Michaela. I'm not gonna ask. But
millennial.
Nice millennial crew here tonight.
I'm guessing that we all grew up kind of on the cusp of the internet, of the introduction to it in its early days, but certainly not the beast that it is today. So we didn't really have to contemplate with some of the career choices that are out there now. Certainly OnlyFans, things like that wasn't an option. Now, if I was 18-year-old Dan, someone said you could make some money putting your feet on the internet or something like that, I've a little only dance, I might have been tempted into it. I would have been I'd be like, why not? This is great. This could never bite me in the ass 20 years from now.
No, definitely not. No, but that's like interesting, right? Because I feel like our generation especially is like, we're so used to how like the internet is and can be a shitty place. But like the career thing about the internet, because when we grew up, you couldn't have a career on the internet yet because it was too new.
No.
So like how the shitty parts of the internet could then directly affect your actual job, that's kind of a new thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, those early people who worked out making a job from the internet made some serious money though. The early pioneers of like the website design and the building and all that kind of stuff, we missed out. I was too busy playing mini golf.
Maybe that was also good thing.
Maybe good,
I got to do some
maybe good for us.
Yeah, I got to do some stuff for real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not saying that being a web creator in any sort is not a real job, but I prefer to be out in the woods.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I also think it's different because,
agree.
like, when you get, for example, like if I get critiqued, like at my physical job, it can still sting and hurt, right? But at least I know that that critique isn't there for, you know, tens of thousands to millions of other people to see,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
And there's a difference in
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, because they actually, your colleagues usually, they know who you are and they know where you're coming from. But people, random people on the internet, they only have the kind of persona that you are putting out there. They have no idea who you are.
Yeah, and they
And
don't have
yet they
that.
can like jab you straight in the heart.
Yeah, they don't have that real time emotional response, because you know, we're all humans can read emotions on like minute levels, and if you say something mean to somebody in person, even if they keep the stone, you know, the stone in his face, you can they give there's little tells, you can understand that you've upset somebody, whereas that all disappears online, and people feel like they can say the most heinous things. And I'm sure you get your fair share being a a, a, a female in the strength field, particularly at the minute, seems to be, you see, you've got to be careful not to, like, I guess, believe everything that's taken sometimes and put out there. You can often assume is that that's how it is for everybody. So you've probably got a better idea. But I see a lot of comments highlighted where, you know, there'll be somebody like yourself and there'll be a bunch of guys in the comments saying how you look like a man, or he's doing, just that little comment of like, oh, he's doing well. It's like fucking just, it's so frustrating for like just a normal person. Like, why would you ever come here to do that? But
nobody would tell that to my face ever.
No, but it's...
But on the internet, people feel free. But on the other hand, I also feel like I used to be really angry as a young adult. And I feel like I had been speaking about anger in my Instagram previously. And I think that there is something in me that is provoking this anger in them. And I have said that it's a you problem. You have to look into yourself and ask yourself, why are you angry at me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a stranger on the internet.
Yeah.
So please take a close look on yourself in the mirror and ask, like, is there something intimidating in strong women? Or is it just like you're so emasculated in your real life that you feel like this is a good time to put in an elbow job? Like, what is it?
Yeah.
Because
That's such a good
it's
point.
not me.
That's such a good point. Like that the anger is ultimately a you problem. It's not a me problem.
No, I think it's there's two channels. One that, you know, we had Tank Tolman on here a couple of weeks ago, and even someone like him who makes the most wholesome material or content that there is. It's just pure, good-natured, wholesome, be nice people, love each other. He still gets hate. We posted that, and there were still people coming like, hate this guy for no reason. They have nothing to base on. So there's some people who just hate the status quo, or hate anything that's popular. And then I guess you do have that other camp of, I think, a certain group of guys who just feel maybe very threatened by strong women.
But Dan, that can't be, because you know what? Someone told me a little while ago that sexism was dead, actually. So we didn't need feminism action.
Did I say that?
No, not you.
Oh,
I want to. No,
the way you said that, I was like,
no.
I did not say that. I don't think.
No, I want to make it unequivocally clear. This was not Dan. This was some random asshole.
I was like, oh my God, I'm being called out here.
No. Some random asshole at a party that just went, oh, but isn't like, except, especially from like a Scandinavian point of view, like, oh, but isn't sexism kind of dead though? Like, aren't we done with that? And I'm like, have you been on the internet?
No, I think it's tough. I think the world's very complicated. And obviously from my perspective, now I would consider myself a very masculine male. You know, I've played rugby all my life. I've been to the gym all my life. I quote unquote like manly stuff. Like on the surface, I'm covered in tattoos. On the surface, very much like a masculine man. But also, we have seen like over the last 10 years, very much a a kind of, I don't want to say like demonizing of males, but very much like in some aspect of that kind of that hyper masculinity has in some cases been twisted of like it's all toxic, which it isn't. It all depends on how people act, and but for some people maybe they've taken that as a personal attack. They've got upset. They feel like that all masculinity has been attacked for whatever reason. So then I think that then creates a group of people who feel threatened by somebody like you that when they really shouldn't. But it's this kind of world that we've all
me being
made.
Strong isn't away from anybody else.
No, just if you're strong, that's not the reason they're not strong.
How funny would that be though? That for every like kilo that you can add to your weights, Dan loses a kilo that he can.
Well,
if there was
where am I losing the kilo from? Because I could be up for this.
I'm saying that's the mindset.
I could be encouraging.
I'm saying that seems to be the mindset, that because Michaela is so strong, that must automatically mean that like she's leeching the strength out of someone else or something.
Yeah. That
exactly
actual witchcraft.
I think that is the mindset a lot of people have, though, that if somebody else is doing well, that is in some way knocking them or stopping them from doing well. And it's that kind of, I've probably had it at points in my life, so I don't want to just call it like a loser mindset, but it is one that a lot of people have, this, that, oh, well, they're doing well, so there can't be space for me to do well. And it's this weird feeling that you have to snap out of. And I've felt it at certain times in my life, and I know I've made a conscious effort to kind of snap my mind out of that. It's like, well, so what if they're doing well? Celebrate them, and I'll do well on my own. It's not if or that. It's you both can. There's plenty of space for everyone to do well. But I think sometimes when you're maybe struggling, it's easy to look at somebody going well and be like, it must be nice for them, must be good for them. I wish I could do that. This is in some victim kind of mentality of stopping them.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think it's kind of cliche, but I really like this. I don't remember exactly who it's by now, but I really like this quote that's been making its way, especially online, multiple times. But this saying of, I think it's some sort of psychology branch that first pitched it or something, or philosophy possibly, but that your first thought is what you've been taught, but your second thought is who you decide to be, because you can't always be aware of what you're going to immediately think, but that is a reflection of what you've been taught, of like how you've been, for lack of a better term, not necessarily brainwashed, but kind of like mildly brainwashed by everything around you. But your second thought, if you then just, like you said, Dan, if you decide to take yourself to task and be like, do I actually agree with that? Then that is who you are.
I remember getting called out by my apprentice. When I was a plumber, I had an apprentice, a good friend of mine, but he was still maybe like 5 years my junior, so he's younger than I am. And I remember one day I was just complaining about somebody online. I can't remember who it was, somebody famous. And he's like, "You're just a hater. Stop hating." He's like, "Why are you hating so much? There's no need for it. Like, just be positive." And I still remember to this day that moment of this epiphany of like, yeah, why am I? Why can't I just be happy for their success? It's not changing my success or what I'm doing. And it really was like a mind shift for myself of like, oh yeah, just don't.
Yeah.
Actually, you don't have to do that. Maybe that's your first thought, but you can also choose whether you put that out there or internalize that and maybe think of self-improvement rather than putting the first thing you think out into the world like so many of us do. It's very quick to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that in this day and age, we're also a lot conditioned to think in certain patterns. You're a winner or you're a loser. There is nothing in between. Everything is gray. Everything is black or white. There's nothing gray in between.
Yeah.
And we have also, what I believe is that we have lost the art of conversation.
Yeah.
Like we have a lot of different political views or historical views standing on side A and B and absolutely refusing to understand each other's point of view. And I think that this is super harmful for us.
Yeah. And the reality is the truth is usually somewhere in that murky middle anyway. Neither are absolutely right in the end. And I think that's, it's something we all probably can learn. It's okay to be wrong sometimes, and sometimes mediocre is fine. You could be the 50th best, I don't know, archer in the world. And you're never going to get to number one. But sometimes being 50 is really fucking good.
The 50th archer in the world is really fucking good.
But I'm sure the mindset of that 50th is like, I want to be number one. And sometimes you can beat yourself down. When sometimes if you're happy being mediocre and you have a happy, you have a family and a good life, you don't need to be fucking Elon Musk, because that has its own challenges and its own shit that comes with it. So it's okay to be. But I think like social media puts all these 1%ers into your feed, into your life,
seeming
all the time.
1%ers, right? Because
they're all seeming
exactly.
1%.
Because
exactly,
it's sold to us as them being 1%, but we don't know what it's like to be them, and we don't know whether they actually are either. So
exactly.
Yeah.
But I think that's such a good.
Okay.
I completely agree.
Yeah. Sorry, Dan.
I was gonna say, should we talk about some of these lovely Viking events that I've seen you doing, rather than us just bitch about social media non-stop, because that is where I first came across you. I don't know if it was the first video that went viral, but the one of the like log deadlift.
It was from this summer actually.
So
it's called. I could take you back to the entire concept and everything, how we got here.
Yeah.
It was a little bit more than a year ago, and that I got invited to Birka, the Viking island, oldest merchant city in Scandinavia, and I got invited there for a week of competition. And it was just my colleague randomly sending like, hey, you like history, you're strong, you should go there. And I sent the email to the owners, Ann and Jakin, and said, hello, I'm this and that, and I would like to come. And they were like, yeah, come. And I showed up, and as in normal any competition, I thought that, we're going to be there on the day, and then we're going to be sleeping at home. I turned out with a toothbrush and the clothes that I have sewn, and it turned out that we're going to be sleeping in tents for a week on this island together with the same group of people. And I was like, what kind of cult is this? And like everybody wearing Viking outfits, history nerds talking about history. I was like,
what in the Midsommar?
I think that. Yeah, exactly. And I was like, oh my God, what is this like real? And every day it's called the Bath of Fire. Every day you have a competition, and I was the only female against all these big blokes. And you have 5 events per day. And you do them like every day on 5 days.
That's a lot.
And that's the Bath of Fire. And then I also...
That's really hard. I say that's really hard work. I've done... When I was younger, I did like a local strongman event for like our district council. And that was 2 days. And I was in bits. And that was like maybe 5 events each day over 2 days. And my body was exhausted after that. So doing 5 days back to back and not sleeping in a comfortable bed. I got to go home, have a bath, try and rehab a little bit, get into a comfy bed.
Yeah. We're sleeping in tents, eating the food that you can make over open fire. No electricity, nothing. Just living our best Viking life, drinking meads in the evening, lifting the next day. And it actually is a bath of fire. It was both the sleep deprivation, the lack of eating, because I only thought that breakfast and lunch and dinner. But, at home, you always go and grab a snack or you have some fruit or something. And in day 3, I was like, my calories, I need to eat, like going around from camp to camp asking people, does anybody have any quick carbs? And the food was Viking food, meat.
Yeah, okay. No protein bars.
No grilled chicken.
Only grilled chicken, but no protein bars, no shakes. Yeah. So at day 5, I was dreaming about slaughtering the Birka's goats, thinking I would make a barbecue of them. But going back to the deadlift. So the deadlift is from this year's Bath of Fire, and it was I think it was day 3 or 4. So I was pretty exhausted by that point. And it's called the God lift. So each jump that you do, they have the God's name on it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mags, have you seen what it is, Mags?
Online, I think.
So it's like it's like a tree trunk that has loops. I guess maybe like every 10 inch. I don't know the exact distances, but every sort of 10 inches, and you move
10
the
centimeters.
the
I
bar.
would suppose, since this is in Biko.
Maybe, yeah. Or you move. So you move like the bar kind of or stick down as you go, and you have to like deadlift it up off like a pivot, and then move down. And obviously, the closer you get to the pivot point, the end that stays on the floor, the more difficult it gets.
Yeah.
So that's for anybody
listening.
And the thing is
that it's the stick that you have in the little loop. It's so big that you can't loop your hands around it.
Oh,
so you're only having,
so your fingertips can't like touch.
Oh wow!
No, there's no chance of me getting my fingers around. So that's why I always have the switched mixed grip, and the stick is short.
Yeah, you can't tell that from the video. Is would that be the same for man hands? Because
yeah. Like I said, Bath of Fire is both for men and female.
Is it the same stick for everybody? That's what I meant. Is it? So it's because obviously you'd have a harder time getting the hand around than
Even the blokes don't get their hands around.
Okay.
One of the big blokes just like but he's a 2 meter tall Viking, so it was like but for the rest of us mortals, we had to figure it out.
Okay.
And that's mostly the point of these events. We never know in advance what we're going to be doing. It's usually 60 seconds before you go. Yakin, he's the chieftain. He shows that this is what you're going to be doing. Nobody's ever tried it before. Good luck. And then you have 60 seconds and try to do as many reps as possible, whatever that might be.
It's fun.
So it can be basically anything. I have been lifting a log on my shoulder and doing Turkish get-ups with a log.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Gold the Valkyrie rise.
Yeah, I bet,
I can tell that like my upper body and my thighs are like shaking in like phantom sympathy.
So back to the deadlift. Obviously, like I said, that's the one that I kind of saw whenever I don't know if you posted that originally or they posted that.
I posted it originally.
That seemed to just blow up everywhere. I saw that kind of popping up, and I just remember being like, "Who's this? Oh, this is like," because it's a really cool video. It's like filmed really cool. I'm like, this is fantastic because I've got to be honest. I do have a soft spot for like strong women. I think it's very. I think it's. I think it's because I guess it's because I'm probably. I go to the gym a lot. I'm like, I have that masculine stat. So I have no there's no threat to me in that sense. I don't feel so. I've always been kind of very much into that.
Professional respect for the grind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. And I think the same for me. I can see the work behind the muscles. So I look at dudes that are well built.
Yeah.
Because I know, it's you, brother. You have been also slaying away.
It's harder. Yeah. So I remember seeing that and I was like, this is cool. She's like in Viking stuff and doing Viking stuff. I'm like strong. I'm like, this is a great video. And then I just remember seeing it popping up time and time again. And like just the comments. I don't know how many views it's had now, but that was like my first introduction into kind of like this stuff.
Yeah. Starke Viking has been going on for quite so many years, and it went viral last year since I started posting, because I thought that maybe somebody else might think that this is cool and like it. So the first video I did was single arm strict press with my own body weight. So it was closer to 60 kilos that I'm strict pressing straight.
Wow, okay.
And that video went viral. It was the first video that went viral. And I'm still amazed. How can I strict press with my single arm my own body weight.
Mm-hmm.
I still can't wrap around. It's a bent press, so it's not going to be the perfect kind of strict press. So there is a kind of lever, and I'm bending my body just because it's physically impossible to strict press your own body weight. But I did it.
Yeah.
And just for me, the fact, because the struggle, if you go and watch that video, the struggle is real. It takes me, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds to get that bar up. I just refuse to give up.
And it's easy.
And you can hear
easy
the crowd cheering. It was amazing.
So, did you? Were you already posting a lot of fitness stuff before?
Yeah.
This, and then this kind of, I assume this kind of took it to a different level.
Yeah. So I was posting previously. It started kind of as a journal for my postpartum journey. I felt really many years off after delivering my daughter. She's 7 now. It took me like 4 years to feel like my body is own. I got a severe separation of my abdomen, and I didn't get any support from the healthcare system. They were just asking, like, is your daughter healthy? And I was like, yeah, she's healthy, but I'm not. Not okay.
Yeah.
And I was like basically given zero help. They were just like, off you go and on your own. And then I had trained like all my life. So I thought that, okay, if nobody else is going to help me, I have to help myself. And I started looking at, okay, what options do I have? Because I think the regular going to gym is pretty boring. I'm sorry, it's boring. 10 reps each.
Yeah, I agree. I've not lifted weights in like that for years at this point, because I did it so much when I was younger. I'm just bored of it. I don't care for like weightlifting anymore. I'd much prefer like more active style.
Exactly.
And that's kind of, I guess,
and that's how I stumbled upon CrossFit Box. And I just went there and I said, I have zero motivation. I'm just so sore in my body. I have to do something. And I signed up and I thought that, okay, let's give this a chance. And after maybe 7 months, I started to feel like, oh my God, I actually can use my body again. I feel like this is my own body. And then from that, it just evolved to being more of like, I wanted to do, because I realized pretty quick that I'm pretty strong. So I started doing more of like the heavy lifting, Olympic lifting, random stuff, like trying to lift weights in other ways than maybe is considered usual or normal, doing weighted pull-ups and just juggling around. And from that, it became more of like strongman together with the CrossFit combination. It doesn't have a name. I call it Viking fitness.
I love that. It's kind of like, I don't know what this is. I'm just going to give it a name.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that a CrossFit probably really helped with that. Those first events where you just get thrown into the deep end, because you get an all-round strength. So it gives you that ability to kind of move on the fly and kind of work out how to move things, rather than just a strict gym strength that is a bar up and down, whether in one plane of motion. Whereas CrossFit, you're moving things in all planes of motion.
Absolutely.
So that's got to have helped, like,
absolutely.
Massively.
Yeah, absolutely. Like one of the events was in the Bath of Fire the first year that we had to do as many push-ups as possible in 1 minute. And I looked at the dudes go first, because the one who's leading goes always first, and the one who's last always going last.
Okay.
So I was looking at all the 15 dudes going before me doing insane amount of push-ups. And then it was my turn, and I was like, I think the dude before me did 62. And I was like, okay, let's give it a try. I did 64.
Wow. Yeah.
How do you do more than one push-up a second?
You have to go and watch that video.
Okay.
You have to go very quick. You have to, yeah.
Because my math was like, what?
Yeah, it was fast, but it's not a strict push-up all the way. It's against a log.
Okay.
So it's not all the way to the ground, but it's still like
still though.
Yeah.
Yeah, still
Still counts.
Yeah.
It still counts. So that kind of endurance is definitely driven from CrossFit and the ability to adapt. Like stuff happens, because I've been competing in CrossFit previously, and stuff happens, you break something or just something goes off, and then you have to adapt.
Yeah.
And the same is in these Viking events. You have no idea what's going to happen next, and you just try.
So when those first few videos went viral, I guess, what was that like? 'Cause I guess that's got to be very different, just getting tons of comments. Were they all friendly to start with, or?
In the beginning, it was mostly friendly, and I think that it was such a huge volume. I wasn't used to that.
Yeah.
So if there was something negative, I was just like, whatever. I don't remember reacting at all in the negative. Maybe I don't know. I didn't even react to it because it was all so new to me. Like overnight, I got like 30,000 followers, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is this?
I think there's so many more views on that video that aren't probably attested to you, and you probably don't even see the comments, because I saw it like taken and then shared in a Facebook group, which will just be taken and then shared, and that'll have thousands of views and maybe hundreds of comments, or if not more, that you aren't notified about, so you're not even seeing those ones. I think that's where I saw it. So that's happening on, and I'm sure it will do it seems like it's one of those videos that seems to do its rounds. It'll not turn up for a while, then I'll be like, this is all over my feed again, and then it'll disappear again, and then it'll just come up again. Because I know that I didn't see on your story on yours, because it wasn't until about 3 weeks ago, or maybe a little bit longer, maybe a couple of months ago, when I first messaged you, that I actually knew who you were from the video. So I'd seen the video shared on Facebook, and I had no idea, like, because there wasn't a tag of your account or who it was. It was just the video. So I was like, I wonder who this is.
People need to be more, people need to get better at like sharing the original source. Yeah, crediting.
Yeah, so then...
Yeah, but on Facebook, I have a profile that's shared between family members.
Okay.
So they wouldn't even, maybe they could tag my Instagram, but it doesn't go They could have maybe just put the @ but yeah, so I knew the video, but I had no idea who like the lady in it was, until a few weeks ago somebody was like, oh, why don't you get also, is it unknown Ude? What's an Ude? Yes.
What's an Ude?
Unknown Ude.
Because I'm like, is it nude? But it can't be, because it doesn't make sense. But I'm like, it looks like nude. And I'm like, what's this about?
I can actually tell you the story where it came from. I used to paint graffiti, and my tag, now please, you have both my last and first name. I have painted so many subways across Europe, across the world.
Okay.
So hopefully no cops is looking at this. Exactly. But my old tag is you die. Udi. Unknown Udi. Right. Because I didn't realize that it's red nudie. It was unknown Udi. Just plain for me. And then people started telling me like, what do you mean nudie? And I was like,
it's like a friend of mine. Their last name is Sobucken, and on Instagram, his handle used to be Mr. Sobucken, but I was like, why is your handle Mrs. Obucken? And he was like, no, it's Mr. So like, I feel your pain.
So Ed Gamester, his used to be @Ed Gamester. But for whatever reason, when you put it together, it looks just like it says Edgemaster, but it doesn't. It's just like it's just that your brain kind of your brain, and everyone used to be like, "Why is it Edgemaster?" It's like, it's not. It's fucking Ed Games. So that's my name. And it's like, no, it looks like Edgemaster. So he changed it because he was just like so sick of people being like, "What's Edgemaster?" So
that sounds kind of kinky.
Yeah,
well, that should be in the Viking smut.
Yeah,
it should be. Says the person with unknown nudie on theirs.
This week's contribution is written by Edgemaster and Unknown Nudie.
Yeah, there's probably been a lot of disappointed men when they click on your profile and it's just you working out.
Exactly.
So
But I actually have to say that it's so much more, the entire concept of Starkeviking. It's so much more than just the lifting heavy.
Mhm.
Like everybody who's competing, it has become like my second family.
Aw.
Mhm.
Like we call each other. I know that if something would happen to me, I could pick up the phone, call any of them and say, okay, this has happened, I need help. And the guys and girls would come straight away over and ask, okay, what do
that's
we do?
good. Yeah, that's
So
Warms my
it's not
heart.
just because like having kids, everybody's always telling me it takes a village. It takes a village. Where is the
Yeah,
village?
where the
Starkeviking is that village.
Mhm.
I can let my daughter roam freely in the markets, and they know that every adult who is here is a safe adult. They can go and ask like food or water, and they play together. And I can't offer her that in the modern society that we're living in.
Mhm.
But in the Viking setup, it just works
yeah.
because everybody takes their responsibility.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's so much more than just the lifting. It's also like a wholesome little family.
Oh,
Mhm.
I love that so
That's
much.
good because when did you say the first time you competed?
It was a year ago,
Okay,
a
so
little
yes.
more than a year ago.
So I guess you've been welcomed into that very easy as well.
Open
and
armed.
found your place. And
Yeah, open armed.
are there any more? Have you inspired any more women to compete
Many.
in this year's one?
Yeah, so many. I'm so happy. Like people are coming up to me, or women are coming up to me and telling, I signed up because I knew that you're going to be here and I have seen you lifting and I took the step. Previously, the Valkyrie class used to have like maybe 4 or 5 competitors. Now they're fully booked.
Yes.
Always in advance. Like
Yes.
girls are showing
Wow.
up and they know that I'm going to be in the ring. And now already they have like their little procedure that they know that, okay, we're going to look for the redheaded girl. And then we're going to go talk to her and ask, what are we going to do for warm up?
Mm-hmm.
And then I have like a group warm up for all the women.
That's
And
so
then we're going to like,
nice.
yeah, let's smash this. Because we are not competing against each other. We are competing with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the only competition I've ever been in where everybody is cheering for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like the best cheers and compliments I've ever gotten are from my co-sisters in the competition.
Sisterhood.
I bet. Is it
Sisterhood, exactly.
now that they have more competitors? Do they still keep it mixed sex, or do they have a male and female
It's only
now?
the Bath of Fire that is mixed sex. So the rest of the competitions are for male and female.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the open class where whoever can sign up.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I like that. So that reminds me of my friend Lloyd has it's called King of the Swing, which also I think sounds like a
also a little cult.
also does sound a little
something
erotic.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's mace swinging. It's a mace swinging competition that he's started.
Okay.
And it's in Liverpool, and it's the second year was this year. And it's growing fairly well, to be honest. But they have basically it's open. It's everybody goes together, and everybody competes. But it's so lovely and wholesome seeing everybody cheering for each other, together and wanting everybody to do well. And I think this year they had so many more like female athletes. I think one of the ladies finished 4th, which was incredible. Like out of maybe like 40 people, I think there was in there, and she did absolutely insane because it's all kind of it's not balanced in any way. It's kind of like you're there to do what you can do, and that's it. It's not kind of handicapped in any way. So it's insane to see kind of the improvements on the year before. But I was a judge there both years. But just seeing that kind of community it's really special. It's something kind of special. Just I can't wait to go back next year and see how it's improved and the people are kind of that family and community.
Exactly. Because I think like in a modern society, we're at least here in Scandinavia, everybody is super individualistic. So it's really hard to find that kind of community. if you go out with your friends, it's one-to-one fika, but it's really like people from different ages, different backgrounds, different interests getting together. And for example, in the Birka, you have to be a week together with these people.
Oh,
And
wow. Yeah.
like whatever happens, then you're going to talk. Okay, I misunderstood you. What did you mean? There's rarely any fights at all because people are actually, they're just good people, like genuinely good people.
Can I just, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I have to show you both this. This sums up my week perfectly. And it's literally just happened right now.
Did you just spill your drink, Dan?
No, I have my lovely whiskey decanter.
Yeah.
Right? Pulled the top out. My lovely crystal whiskey decanter. The top has split.
Oh.
I also can't get any whiskey out because the glass has snapped inside. Now plugs the entrance, so I can't actually get anything out, and the plug's broke. Now that sums up this week for me.
You've had a tough week, huh, buddy?
That's how does that even happen? I literally just turned it to open.
Oh my god,
I'm so sorry.
I've never seen that
for you, Dan.
happen.
Oh, that's just like
what
we would say in Norwegian maksuflux. It's just like maximum unluckiness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yep.
So
that reminds me of the time when one time I accidentally threw a nail polish container off of the bathroom counter. I didn't mean to, but like my hand swiped and it caught the nail polish container. Of course, this was a container. I was 15. It was a container of black nail polish in a white tiled bathroom. And nail polish containers are usually pretty sturdy. You can usually throw them across the room and they're fine. But this one managed to hit the tile at like the perfect scientific angle where the entire thing exploded, and then there was black nail polish all over the bathroom. It was 6:30 in the morning and I had like half an hour to get to school. So I was like, that reminded me of that, Dan. I'm so sorry that your little decanter broke. I was worried that you had glass in your whiskey now, which is like, which I guess you kind of maybe would. I don't think you could drink the thing. So
I've just like poked the little glass, because the glass bung that's stuck in there is maybe like a couple of millimeters thick. I don't know how that snapped off and stayed there. So I like poked it in, but it shattered a little bit.
Yeah,
so
can't
I don't
drink that
really
whiskey
dare
now.
drink the whiskey. So I'm gonna go get some more from behind me
do that.
to drown myself.
You do that.
And then
Then
I'll tell you about the other things that have gone wrong in my week, because it's all mead related.
Oh, poor Dan.
Poor Dan.
But at least it was a smart decision to not drink that.
Yeah, I feel like maybe having then drunk that and then ended up with potential massive internal injuries from like literally slicing up your insides.
Exactly. Like, just let's make this week not that bad.
We're just saying that like one bright spot was, the decision of not drinking that whiskey so that you didn't, accidentally slice up your insides. Because that would really have put the cherry on top in like not a great way.
Exactly.
Yeah. With the way that this week's gone, it would have just happened. So this week for me, I finally got the labels printed for the mead that I've been making for a year, and they printed the labels wrong.
Is it flavored, unflavored?
Just a traditional, just plain mead. We've been working, so through the business, we sell loads of other people's mead, and then we decided to start producing our own. I've spent literally a year changing the unit, building a meadery in there, getting it all set up, learning to make mead. I didn't know how to do it before. Turns out I'm actually quite good at it, though. It does taste nice.
Good
but it was meant to be a really happy week where I got the labels and I was going to bottle some for the first time. Went to pick the labels up and they printed them way bigger than they were meant to be. And when I say like this is like £2,000 worth of labels, so thankfully it wasn't my fault, so they can be redone, but it takes 3 weeks to redone. 3 weeks to redo them because they have to order in all the little cutters, and I'm meant to have, I do have a show next week where I wanted to sell them. So I spent this week finding another bottle. So I've had to buy
new bottles
a
that
load
can
of
fit
other
the new labels.
Yeah, like a tall bottle that will fit the label on. And then one of the most frustrating parts was I'm making some more mead. I basically, when you add like a nutrient, you need to degas it. So basically, as it's going, you need to get rid of the carbon dioxide in there. And so I degassed it, and because I was in a rush, I must have done it too quick with the drill, and it caused it to kind of rise and agitate it. And this is in a 300-liter tank.
No.
And I degassed it, and when I say it was the slowest thing to ever happen in the world, like it was in slow motion, I could just see the mead, because there's about 6 inches between the mead and the top of the tank, and I could just see it rising and rising. And I was like, oh, fuck, what am I going to do? And I can't turn it off. I can't like stop it. I could just see it rising.
It's a reaction.
And I just pulled the lid over. And I tried to hold the lid down. And I was like, I don't know what to do. So I'm like,
just going to keep the liquid in place. Yeah. I love it. Just like no.
Just like a picture
of kid. As cats. Yeah. If I don't see it, is it gonna happen or
as
not?
if it was like bread, as if it was like dough that you could just keep in place by keep.
I was just like a little kid, and I just pulled it over and covered it, and then obviously it got to the top, and then lifted the lid and started spilling out over the sides. And this was about 7:30 at night, so I'd already had like a really long, shitty day, and I was like tired, and I wanted to go home. So that happened, and I had to like move, especially with it being mead. Well, it's only just started, so technically it's only like 3 days old, so it's just kind of honey and water mixed. So obviously you can't leave that on the floor, and a single mopping doesn't really help because it's just going to be sticky. So I had to like mop it. I had to mop the floor about 4 times.
Jesus.
Move all the shelving and the racking that had gone underneath, clean all that, clean all the stuff down. I think it was like 9 o'clock by the time I left. I was like, this week can't get any worse. It's just going on. And then the big labels that were printed, got them back. I was like, found a new bottle, really excited. So it's gonna work. It's fine. The labels don't fit in the label maker that I have.
No.
On the label, so and like the labeler, so the label machine, because they're now too big to fit in the label machine, so I have to apply every one by hand, which is really frustrating. And then DPD were meant to drop a bottle filler off on Saturday morning, but they just didn't. He just was half a mile away, and apparently he was like, no. Just didn't want to do it. I rang the customer service up and asked him. I was like, please, I need it. Please ask him to come back and deliver it. Like, yeah, absolutely. He'll be there before 6. 6 o'clock came. No, did they? No. So I had to fill a lot of bottles today, the old way of like using a siphon and a little clamp, and like undo the clamp and let it fill and then clamp it. Like really kind of rudimentary. And I was just a little bit like, what else can go wrong with my week? Apparently my favorite decanter gets broken as well.
But at least you didn't drink shards of glass.
Sorry, Dad.
At least I have my health.
At least you have your health.
It could have been worse.
Absolutely.
That's not. But Dan.
When I took
Virtual
the lid off and I
hug for you, my friend.
There'll be a moment we
From here too.
We could probably find it. We might have to get Sam to look for it, because there'll be a moment there where I've picked that decanter up, taken the lid off, and tried to pour it, and I've looked to the glass and been like, why is it not coming out? And then I've looked in it, and obviously YouTubers have been talking, and I've just gone,
what?
And I've realised that it's stuck in there. It'll be on here with my little face like absolutely dumbfounded. Like, what the honestly, it's been a week.
I'm so sorry. But in the name of comedy, I can also tell you, like, after I've started doing a lot of collabs, so I have like delivery drivers leaving parcels here every week. But then there was once before I was supposed to go to a market, and I was waiting to get a specific jewelry, because I was like, I really want to wear this. It was a small Valkyrie pendant, and I was like, I really have to have this. And then the dude, it was the same thing, like 300 meters away, an air me truck. and I ran after that.
Hey,
In my
I would have
black
been,
little
I'd been
satin.
terrified of you just running after me. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Did you get it?
I got
Yes.
it. The dude was so scared. I was whipping in the back of the van, and he just hit the brakes, and he was looking at the mirrors, and then I just came over and you wrote that not able to deliver, and you just left for my fucking address. I was at home. Stop.
Mhm.
And he was like,
Yeah.
huh? Who are you? I was like, apartment, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Honestly, that's what he did. I think he probably saw a business address and saw Saturday and thought they're not going to be there. But we were there all day waiting for it, and
Exactly.
it's just like usually I wouldn't be too bothered because I don't want to be that person who complains like so much. But it's like there's a lot of money in the meat, and I really didn't want to have to fill the bottles the way that I did because you get a little bit spilling. It takes ages to wipe the bottles because you've got to kind of like move it across. It just takes so much longer. And it's just like,
it does.
but they don't understand that. They're just like, it's just a parcel. I'm like, but if your guy just did his job, he was out, he was delivering. I don't understand why he wouldn't just come and drop it off. He was in the area, but
Exactly.
it's
Exactly.
sure. But apparently, Michaela, anyway, you said that maybe my bad luck will last a month, so it might not be over today anyway. I was like Sunday.
The Scandinavian Bible being like, maybe a couple of weeks from now, you'll think back to that broken decanter and be like, oh, those were some good days.
That was a good one, yeah.
That's Scandinavian pessimism.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
It
is.
So have you back to the lifting? Have you done? So have you done 2 years? No.
No, it was my second season this year, and so it starts always in April, and then it ends in September in Gudahagen.
Oh, so there's more than one.
Sorry, I
thought it was just one event.
No.
Okay, so it's a season.
We travel across Scandinavia. We have been to Sweden, Norway, different places, different markets, different Viking markets, just going from market to market, doing our little thing, showing off, having fun, drinking mead. So it's like going from place to place, getting to know a lot of new people, meeting different people, and different, because in Sweden they have like this kind of, I don't know, association, kind of like historical associations where they have their own Viking village and their little longhouse or whatever they might have. It's usually in an old historical location, so you actually have the graves or old longhouse or whatever that might be. And in that site they often have like a Viking age market then, and then Starke Viking comes into these different markets and just doing the strong lifting events on these different markets. So it's the entire summer, and then it's ends in usually the second week of September is the last market. So the winter season is going to be to making new equipment and bulking.
I love that you make your own, because
everything is handmade.
There's I can't remember whether it was a picture or video that I saw that you had. I guess I assume you probably made it. It looked like almost like a tradition. It's like a traditional tunic like fabric, but it'd been made into like a bra, almost like a sports bra. I guess it looked like maybe it had like an elasticated bottom to it, but it was like is that not elastic?
No, it's not elastic. It's made with 100% linen, and it's just sewn to exact measurements.
Wow.
Because my theory is that I think that there has been women warriors and athletes in the Viking Age too.
Sure.
And when they have gone out to war, they have had to have some kind of bra.
Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah.
Like there are different depictions from the text. Unfortunately, there are no finds that could indicate that there is actual pair of bra. but there are several descriptions of different kind of attire to keep your chest flat, so that you can have your tunics and your chainmail.
Yep.
Mhm.
Because if you have, like me, I'm a heavy-chested girl, so if I have my chainmail on and it's long, the weight, it really presses
It rests
on the
on your
chest.
chest, yeah.
Yeah. So the flatter you are, the better it sits and the better it protects, so that you don't have to fall forward. And this is something that I've learned by doing these Viking lifts, is by testing.
Mhm.
Put on a chainmail, test how it works.
Experimental
Okay, now I
archaeology.
put on.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's really
now I
cool.
put on my little bra, and I put on my tunic, and I put on the chainmail. Haha!
Mhm.
Now all of a sudden the shield and the sword feel completely different. My posture is completely different. So I believe that the women already in the Viking Age, they used to have some kind of bra. Of course, they didn't go out to the battlefield in their tiny little skimpy bra.
No.
That they might have home when they were practicing and training.
Didn't have the chainmail bikini.
No, they
No.
didn't. Actually, in that deadlift video, I have a chainmail bra on me. And there was an American tourist coming up to me and asking like, wow, is that what warrior women used to wear? And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? This is the biggest amount of fat and the ass that we women have. We don't need to protect that. We need to protect our hearts.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Why would I put why would I put some sort of defense here when this is not like maybe like hello? My neck?
And he was like, yeah, and he was like completely serious, like, oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. And I was like, just as out of universe experience that am I having a conversation about this with a fully grown man and trying to get him grasp the point of chainmail?
It does show, because obviously sometimes when I make the videos I do for Instagram and explain, you get people that comment saying, oh yeah, but you don't have to explain that, everybody already knows that.
No.
But they don't.
But here's also the thing that like
don't.
But here's also the thing, because we're all wrapped up in so many different things. So I completely understand that if you're not a history buff, and if you're not really that into history and you just drop by, why would you know? Maybe use your brain for a couple of seconds, but like, do you have any prerequisite knowledge that would let you know? So which I think is just, it's a really good point that both of you make, that like some people are just ignorant, but other people, so we can't expect everyone to know exactly the same stuff that we do, because we're also involved in these types of communities in different ways. So we have therefore the privilege of having all of this knowledge, where I'm like, just the other day my cousin went and she was looking at like the little drawings that I'm making for my PhD of the Oseberg tapestries, and I was like letting her test out my method. And she was like, oh, but maybe this could be horns, like for their helmets and stuff. So maybe this could be a warrior. And I just had to go. I really had to just go like, she's not his. Why? How would she know? And I just went, well, Vikings famously didn't have horns on their helmets. You're Norwegian. Like in my head, I was like, you're a Norwegian person. You should know this. But then again,
isn't there a little depiction on the Oseberg tapestries of like a little horned figure?
There is.
Am I mistaken in that?
No, you are correct. However, I do not agree with that interpretation. My drawing shows something else. I think that horned figure, thingamajig, is. Oh, you're talking about the other one. Yeah, the other one might. Yeah, the other one seems to be. There are other depictions of horned somethings, but we never found a Viking Age dated helmet with horns. So there can be depictions of that stuff. They are very few and far between those, so we don't think they're necessarily based in reality.
No. I just remember I feel like
No, you're right. You're right. There's one.
Yeah.
There's one of those that I don't agree with, but there are also a couple other ones that I think are correct.
Yeah.
So you're right.
I think that the only found helmets with horns are from Bronze Age.
You are 100% correct.
So it might be depictions of something that has been previously.
Exactly. Yeah. And they don't.
It might be a part of the story. Yeah. Like their sagas, and there used to be these men or women wearing this kind of attire.
Yeah, and as far as I'm aware, those Bronze Age horned helmets don't seem to have been used in actual battle. They seem to have had some sort of other function.
Yeah, maybe like
I think so too.
Yeah.
More of religious or some kind of cult activities.
Something you put on when you're doing something fancy or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your Sunday best.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's the thing. I realized as well, Max, when speaking with you and what you do and putting together these pieces, that for the most part, what people see and think of, the image that's kind of portrayed or shown within the museum, that's somebody's done what you've done and put that together.
Yep.
Now they might not be 100% correct with that, like you're discovering now. You're looking at stuff and thinking that maybe they don't always.
And here's
the
thing:
first try isn't always right, but people are looking at it and they're basing their idea and thoughts on that.
Yep.
But if you don't know any more, like obviously I've learned that from doing this and speaking to you and knowing what you do. But if you just go to, the Viking Ship Museum and you look at the image of
that's the whole point of museums, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. People look at that and go, "That must be exactly what it is."
Yep. No.
When it's actually maybe it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. There is in Swedish museums a lot of these temple rings from, for example, Kiev Rus.
Mm-hmm.
And I always get off the roof because they say earrings.
No.
They are not earrings. They are temple rings, and they are completely two different things because women in the Viking Age didn't wear earrings.
As far as we know, no.
So I have actually, exactly, as far as we don't know, there are no findings.
Mm-hmm.
So I have written to the Museiverket and said them that, hey, your catalog has incorrectly named these pounds as earrings. They are temple rings, and sent them like huge material PDF from other finds from Kiev Rus.
Mm-hmm.
Like super fancy with filigrane work, and they are so heavy that it wouldn't even make sense to have them in your ear.
That's what I was going to say, because like your earlobes would not be able to withstand that weight.
But it must have been a man.
Oh, well, because
that has cataloged it.
Yeah.
They don't have earrings, so they wouldn't understand. Like you wouldn't have a half a kilo silver hanging from your earlobes.
Half a kilo. God damn. Ow.
I have earrings. I have both my ears.
Yeah. But
I have.
Okay, you might have then realized that this isn't an earring.
Yeah, I guess you could stretch with. You
could stretch.
With a weighted stretch.
You could obviously stretch.
Maybe not half a kilo though.
But maybe not half a kilo. But also, here's the thing: if you then want to make the argument that it could have been an earring, sure. But then you would have to have evidence that they actually did have stretched earlobes, and we don't really have any earlobe evidence to begin with. So how then could you use that? But I think that's really fascinating with what you were saying earlier, Michaela, about the flatness of the chest, because something that hit me, and again, like you said, we have no evidence, but what hit me is all of these brooches that we have, meaning that they knew how to work their way around needles of different types. So I'm like, there must have been like, if not a bra, then like wraps, because wraps are so easy to do, like long strips of fabric and then fastening them, and like with needles you would allow yourself to like tighten it or loosen it and make it so this is what I love about my job, is that all the time I'm getting new I'm like, yes, oh, it's so cool, why haven't I thought about this before?
Like women in the 20s, they used to do chest wrapping just to get the correct silhouette.
Exactly.
That has been done in ancient Rome. Greek women used to do that to get a specific physique. So I don't think that it's far-fetched for me, because I get a lot of questions from history nerds like, there is no finds of this sort. And I say that if it's plausible enough, and I have tested doing this without bra and with a bra, and it works better. I'm pretty sure that the women also back then who actually did this their entire days, all the day, I'm pretty sure they did this too, even though we don't have the facts.
Because here's also the thing, because, here the lack of evidence, I would say, is also in your favor, because usually exact descriptions of how an outfit was put together, from my knowledge, is somewhat lacking from the textual sources we have. And additionally, we don't really have that much textile to begin with. So no wonder that we can't find it. But that being said, we also have a ton of different textile scraps that are too small to say what they actually were. So why couldn't it be this or that? And there is also then historical precedence, exactly like you said, that, wrapping for some reason or another has been used in a variety of cultures to a variety of different like times in history. So it's not beyond the realm of reason to suggest that this could have been done.
Oh.
No, I don't think so at all. Like, for example, if we take, for example, me, I would love to be a Viking warrior. And I went to meet my pal, Jakon, and his other friend. And I said, okay, I'm pretty bitey. I would like to be a part of this gang. How do I become a member? And the first thing they would say, like, we're only guys and you look pretty much like a girl. This might be a problem because you know how it gets in the camp. I might say, hey, don't worry, no problem. I'm going to cut my hair short, and especially around the neck so that the chainmail doesn't get caught in it. And then I might wrap around my chest. Problem solved. I put on my pants, and I have my benlindor, the wrappings around the legs, and just a tunic on top of it.
Done.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah. I think that, I remember, I think this was the first time we had Leisha Gade on here. He spoke about something similar about, I can't remember, it was a long time ago, about there being, I don't think it was from the Vikings, I think it was from other times, accounts of women who did similar stuff to go to war, but by pretending to be male, or like making themselves look as much by rapping and things like that. And I think that's sometimes where people get too caught up with this whole like Viking warrior thing, because they think straight away, especially like, I don't want to feel like we're just smashing men on this podcast because I'm a man and but
there are tendencies in certain male people of the male persuasion.
Yes, some will be. They just think as soon as you say female warrior, it's like this kind of. It is like that image of like the Valkyries in the chainmail bikini, even though it's not. That's maybe what they get in their mind. This like over sexualized, hyper feminine warrior, when it likely isn't. It's just, I think that certainly I've learned from probably doing this podcast that the times of the past were probably a lot more, what's the word? There's a really homogenous, is that the word?
Yeah.
Like very just kind of it, not
practical.
either way, male or female too much, just very much kind of.
I would also say practical.
If you could
dress to the occasion.
Yeah, are you thinking androgynous, Dan?
Androgynous, that's the one. Yes, androgynous.
Okay,
yeah. So, but like if you can do the task, it doesn't matter. I genuinely believe this. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. If you, not even just going to war, if you need the fields plowing and your wife is capable and handy, you wouldn't say no. You wouldn't be like, oh no, sorry, I'm going to do all this manual labor on my own, really hurt my back till the sun goes down, and we'll have less food to eat through the winter because you're a woman. You just
absolutely,
it just wouldn't make sense. And if you do that, you deserve to fucking starve to death.
I think it's really interesting too. Now that we're just on to this, as I think when like that whole like, oh no, it's not possible that this gender or this biological sex could have done this or that in the past. I also think those types of views. Because here's the thing, they might not be completely wrong, because we do see a massive gender stereotypes and very strict gender roles in certain cultures at certain, like in certain periods of time. But usually I'm generalizing heavily here. Usually those strict gender roles are, one thing is whether they're present in all levels of society, but usually the only places where they are very strictly enforced are in the upper echelon of society, where they can afford to enforce those gender roles strictly. Because if it is actually about survival, no one actually gives a shit.
No one cares.
Because it's either die or don't. And usually when it's die or don't, people tend to throw their principles out the window a little bit in a good way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Viking age, and I guess by using the word Vikings, I mean like people of Scandinavia in the Viking age, have been kind of tripped up by their own success and popularity, that it's been portrayed in popular culture of like the hypermasculine male and the strong female and the strong like female quality, like equality, that like the gap being small between men and women. That's the image that's been pushed so much that I think people then forget that humans are a spectrum, and there will be more effeminate men, and there would have been more masculine women and more effeminate women. Like humans are a spectrum. All these in betweens and gray areas existed at the same time. It's only because after it's been portrayed as only being these two kind of stereotypes, and then when you question that, people get upset when it's like, no, humans are humans. You think that all of a sudden you have just like the effeminate men, because that's the one that a lot of people like try to grab
because
onto, and yeah, people have like take issue with that. But it's like, you think that men have only suddenly started, some men have started like being effeminate. No, that's just humans. We're a spectrum.
And also, just the word effeminate in itself is such
it is,
such a problem. No, but I know what you mean. I'm not saying that you're
I don't know for a better...
No, but you're not...
It's true,
You're
though.
not saying anything wrong, but just the fact that we have that word to begin with just shows the level of, if I can be completely honest, outright ridiculousness.
It is true. It is, because it's... Even today, like, I'm not one for like cancel culture or changing a lot of things, and all, like I think that we, for the most part, have a lot of things that work, but when you really think about it, the word effeminate, it's, you're less than
because
masculine.
You are female.
You are more like you're more like a woman, and but it's also used in a negative way, and it's like you have to be. And it's like, but we all know what the word means, and most of us probably don't always think of it like that. But that's its origins. There is that kind of thing that it's like, oh, you're more girly, and then like the masculine woman is now probably seen as, by some people, I think that's probably changing actually. The more like the more strong female is becoming more normalized than maybe maybe like 20, 30 years ago. I think
slowly
that is becoming.
Well, for example, the Birka grave, I think it's 581, the Birka warrior. There was an osteologist looking at the bones in this grave during the 70s, and she said already then that the person who has it been, and just for if you're not so well into archaeological finds and whatever, there is somebody laying in the grave with full sets of weapons. She has a saddle. This person has a saddle, 2 horses, so much fine jewelry. You could find silk from this person's hat and dress left. And there was this was labeled as a man, because full sets of weaponry, 2 horses, and it was close to the garrison. So of course it's a man. Then there was an osteologist in the 70s looking at these bones, and she said that her hips, there is a birthing canal. This is a female, and she was totally shut down from the academic world. Like, this is not going to happen. Mm-hmm. She was like almost fired, and all of her publishments got like blacked out, and nobody was supposed to talk about it. And now 2018 or 17, they did a DNA analysis on this person's skeleton, and it actually turned out to be female. Mm-hmm. And still, now that we have DNA evidence, people are going, no. It's no way. Those DNA tests had to be contaminated one or other way. But the majority has accepted it's from insane, the 70s being absolutely no.
Mm-hmm. You know what I find so interesting about the Birka grave too is that we have a somewhat similar warrior, what's called a warrior burial, meaning that there is a human skeleton buried with a lot of weaponry and military accoutrements, for lack of a better term. And I think this burial was excavated in the 1800s at some point. We've all known that was a female skeleton the whole time, but because there was never any discrepancy, it was just kind of there. Everyone kind of just knew. And okay, whatever. So it never became sensationalized the way that Birka burial became. Mm-hmm. And I just think it's so interesting to have these two juxtaposed. But then again, maybe the Norwegian burial intentionally wasn't highly publicized that much because they knew that people would have such an issue with it. So that now when you enter the Viking Age exhibit in the Historical Museum in Oslo, you're just presented with, this is a warrior burial. The skeleton is that of an approximately 18-year-old female, period.
Mm-hmm. I think also we're kind of, I say we as in the royal we as everybody, not just us here. As, we're kind of taught to be annoyed by things, or like social media feeds people to be annoyed by stuff now. Like most people, I guess, if you just put out that was a female, I would say most people wouldn't care. But you get this with social media, you get the few become the loudest, don't they? Because they're the ones who comment. They're the ones who kind of create this controversy by arguing and bickering.
But this wasn't a controversy created by social media, though, Dan. I think that's very important. It was a controversy created by the academic community first and foremost.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
It wasn't that social
and then
media
it spread from there to exactly. Yeah. It spread from there to
because
social
I think
media.
Credit in all shapes and sizes, also negative credit goes where negative credit is due.
Mm-hmm.
That this is something that me being a part of the academic community needs to contend with. And there's also been an academic article academically published arguing the fact that there must have been a male skeleton originally buried in the Oseberg burial that was removed during the break-in in the 900s, because how else could it's impossible that such a well-furnished rich burial was solely for two women. And that was from the 90s, I think. That was published in the 90s.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show that social media has to stand judgment for a lot of shit. But this is not social media's fault. This specific thing.
I wish there was a way to.
But it's perpetuated a lot in social media.
Yeah, that's true.
I wish there was a way to get across to the everyday person how much ambiguity there was or there is in academia when it comes to the Viking Age. Because I think the everyday person believes that everything that's in a museum or is written down is as it is, and there is no
the truth.
Yeah, there is no kind of gray area. Oh, this is our best guess. And that's what I struggle with time and time again with the podcast, with my own videos of like, no. And it's so difficult when somebody presents you with the sources from a museum that says one thing. It's like, but that's not necessarily it. Like, it's the Christianization of Scandinavia, I think, is the one that comes to mind that I had a big argument with a guy about, that he was like, no, it was all just forced. And I'm like, no, it wasn't. Nope. It wasn't all forced. He's like, no, it was.
It's always a yes and or a no and.
Yeah, pulls up the I think it's the Museum of Denmark and talking about Harald Bluetooth and how he was looking at Rome and felt like he had to convert.
Sure.
But it's also like, yeah, but in that it also said that he chose to convert because it was better for the kingdom. It had a lot of benefits for the people, benefits for him, as security, trade, all these benefits that they wanted to. And yes, there are, but then obviously they'll go to like Olaf Tryggvason. But like, I got into this big argument. He's like, yeah, but it's from the museum. And I'm like, look, go read like Professor Anders Winroth's book, like one of the foremost like scholars when it comes to Christianization. Like, no, it's like, no, I don't trust that. I'm like,
but he's actually a scholar though, which the museum then will base their exhibits on.
Yeah, I'm like, no, he's like literally one of the best people you can ask about this, and he's just like, no, and I'm like, well, fuck me then. I'm just wasting my time, aren't I?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like we've spoken about time and time again, Dan. It's not our job to make sure that everyone knows this, but we're doing what we can, right? And I think that stuff like what you're doing, Michaela, and stuff like we're doing with this podcast, Dan, the point isn't to hammer into everyone what is or what isn't, because then that would also be a moot point, right? But the more that people get exposed to and used to the ambiguity of research, the easier it will become. Like just the other day, I had a talk with my cousin's kid, who is the cutest history buff I know. He's 13 now, and he's always been
cuter than me.
Yes, because he is 13. He's a kid, so he is unfortunately just objectively cuter than you, Dan. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll accept it this time.
But he kept asking me about. He's like morbidly fascinated about like stuff that I think other parents would be a bit concerned, but my cousin and her husband are just like, we can tell that he's a perfectly happy, healthy kid. And he just has some interests that maybe don't align with, like, he plays soccer with his friends. He plays video games. He has fun. He's not killing anything. He just has a weird fascination with, morbid stuff. And I'm like, I can relate because I have that too. So, and he just like asked me about like what like the strangest thing I've found has been, and like if I've ever found any bodies. And then they started like asking me like really like, he was like, have you ever found any bodies with flesh left? And I was like, no, usually that's all rotted away. And then it was so fun because then he immediately pulled out like a contrary evidence that he'd seen at the museum. He was like, but I've seen this person from the Middle Ages and she still had skin. And I was like, that's such a good observation because she was in a very dry environment. So instead of rotting, her flesh actually dried out. And that's why we still have her skin. And he was like just absorbing it. And just, so I think it's about the exposure because he didn't feel, again, he's 13 and he looks to me, as an authority figure because I do archaeology, but he wasn't there to argue against me. He just didn't understand why it was this way in some cases and why it was the other way in other cases. But as soon as I explained it to him, he was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I was like, so you can find skeletons with hair but no flesh, but you can also find skeletons with some flesh left and some hair. Like, it doesn't have to be either or. And he was like, oh, okay, wow, that's really interesting. And he's just one kid, but I'm like, if we teach people of all ages to not have to always have the one answer, like I've talked about time and time again on this podcast, I think that that's ultimately the way that this will be easier for people to stomach.
I think, because I've been sat here thinking and I'm like, my business is in the Viking Age, the podcast is in the Viking Age, like I fucking live the Viking Age to a degree. And then I'm like, so I bet if I go to a museum on the Victorian era or the Roman museum in Chester, but if I go around there, I believe everything that I read because I don't know any better and it's not my world. So I'm probably quite a hypocrite as well because there's probably all that stuff. I'm like, they must know what they're talking about. I'm just going to believe it because I'm not that interested.
Yeah, because that's also...
But I'm interested in the moment.
Like we've talked about with, Richard Wakeman, for example, on this podcast previously. That is the challenge with, institutions like museums is that you are, on one hand, trying to give people who already know a lot about this stuff more info. But for people who don't have any knowledge about it, to also be able to introduce them without overwhelming them. So for us, going to a Viking Age exhibit might be frustrating because we're like, but then again, we're not taking into consideration the probably tens of thousands of people who've also come to that exhibit without any prior knowledge of the Viking Age and are just astounded. Like I did a tour, I remember, for a diplomat from India at the Viking Ship Museum. This must have been like maybe 8 years ago or something like that. And I remember that was such a good interaction for me to have because it told me a little bit about the different levels of expectations. Because he came in, he was like, okay, Norwegian heritage, whatever. And he came in and he was astounded by the level of technological innovation the Vikings had. Because he'd only seen, a few pop culture references here and there. And he was like, okay, whatever. And he comes from India with that rich, rich heritage and all of like the architecture and the art. So when like he saw the wagon and the ships and everything, he was just like, oh, so this wasn't like the Stone Age. Yeah. And I was like, no. This was the way, kind of like, this is, the creme de la creme. But And he was like, huh. I never knew.
Yeah.
Because why would he?
Yeah, exactly.
How much do I know about, India in the 900s? Nothing. Pretty much.
No. Oh, I don't. I would love to learn though.
Yeah.
I'd love to just learn about, like, somebody tell me about that.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be great. Let's wrap up the main show, and then we'll do a quick sort of little Q&A, quick, maybe 15, 20 minutes if you have the time, Michaela.
Yeah, sure.
And then we'll let you get on with your evening. You look quite content there, now winding down.
Yeah, I have nothing to complain about.
Wonderful. All right, let's wrap this up. Mags, where can people find you?
They can find me on Instagram at ArcheoMags, Archeo with a K.
Michaela, where can people find you?
People can find me on TikTok and on Instagram with the handle unknown Udi.
Unknown Udi, not nudie.
Yes, exactly, not nudie.
That could be a t-shirt. Udi, not nudie.
Yeah, that would actually be pretty funny.
And then for me, it's Daniel_Fire_1, Horns Voting for the Business, Nordic Mythology podcast across the board. If you like I say, if you get a minute, leave a 5-star rating, positive review. Maybe it just helps somebody else find the podcast, and maybe they like what we do.